My ship was dying in the belt of dead stars, and I was preparing for the worst, until they emerged from the darkness, the queens who ruled the void, and I realized that freedom here had the most dangerous and attractive price. The vagabond dash, my patched-up marvel of salvaged parts and sheer stubbornness, groaned around me, its structural integrity failing, its alarms screaming a death knell in a cacophony of red light and tearing metal. The Dead Stars Belt lived up to its name, a graveyard of forgotten vessels and shattered dreams, a vast, unregulated expanse of asteroid fields, derelict stations, and nebulae that choked out the light of distant suns. It was the galactic gutter, a place where laws dissolved into whispers on the solar winds, and survival was the only currency. I, Kalen Rourke, former Imperial Navy pilot turned freelance scavenger and a man intimately familiar with the cold embrace of bad luck, had flown into worse storms. But this was no storm. This was an ambush. My sensors, what little remained of them, had barely registered the anomaly, a stealth vessel, cloaked and silent, appearing from behind a gas giant's turbulent wake. One clean shot, right to the Vagabond-esque primary reactor. Amateurs, or perhaps professionals with a very personal vendetta. Either way, I was dead. The cockpit was a maelstrom of sparks and smoke. The emergency life support flickered, then died. My enhanced optics struggled against the gloom. My internal monologue, usually a fortress of cynical calculation, was now a quiet resignation. This is it, Kalen. The void finally collects its due. I'd faced death 1,000 times in the cockpit, cheated it with a roll or a perfectly timed burst of thrusters. But this time, there was no escaping the inevitable. The vagabond was a dying beast, spiraling into the debris field, ready to join the endless ballet of forgotten wrecks. I braced for impact, the crushing embrace of vacuum, the silent oblivion. But then, a light. Not the blinding, chaotic flash of an exploding reactor, but a focused, piercing beam of emerald green, cutting through the swirling debris. And from the darkness, a ship emerged. It was unlike anything I had ever seen. Not imperial sleek, not corporate brutalist, nor pirate crude. This vessel was a predatory beauty, its hull a patchwork of gleaming, iridescent plating and salvaged, organic-looking components that seemed to pulse with a faint, internal light. Its lines were sharp, aggressive, yet undeniably elegant, like a raptor carved from starlight and shadow. It moved with a grace that defied its bulk, sliding through the debris field with unnerving ease, its maneuvering thrusters spitting silent, focused bursts of energy. It was a phantom, a living legend. My comms, miraculously, crackled back to life, spitting static, then a voice. It was female, and it was pure velvet and polished steel. Well, what have we here? The voice purred, low and commanding, resonating with a subtle, melodic hum that seemed to bypass my audio receptors and speak directly to my mind. A broken bird, lost in the void. Then, the ship's main hangar bay opened, a cavernous maw of swirling nebulae-like light. A boarding ramp extended, shimmering with internal energy. And they emerged. 4 of them. The Queens of the Dead Stars. Their reputation preceded them, whispered in every lawless cantina from the outer rim to the core worlds. A crew of fierce, independent women who ruled the belt by sheer audacity, cunning, and an unrivaled mastery of the void. Legends said they were untouchable, their ships phantoms, their bases myths. And now, here they were, standing on the boarding ramp, framed by the swirling cosmic dust and the dying light of my ship. They were exquisitely beautiful, predominantly human-like, yet with subtle, chilling features that bespoke their mastery of the void. The one in the lead, her posture radiating an understated, absolute authority, was the most striking. Her hair, a cascade of impossibly dark curls, seemed to swirl and shimmer like a cosmic gas cloud, catching the distant starlight. Her eyes, they were a mesmerizing blend of deep violet and shimmering silver. Like nebulae captured within their depths, glowing faintly with an inner light that shifted and pulsed with her unspoken thoughts. She wore a tailored, form-fitting command suit, its dark material rippling with faint, intricate glowing tattoos that pulsed with the rhythm of her unseen heart. This was Seraphina, the captain, I deduced, her gaze, sharp and assessing, piercing straight through my jaded cynicism. Beside her, a woman of slender, almost ethereal grace, her movements quick and precise, like a darting starfighter. Her eyes were a vibrant, multi-toned blue and green, like distant nebulae, constantly shifting patterns of light within their irises. Her hair, a fiery red, seemed to spark with a life of its own. She carried a custom-built, heavily modified energy pistol with a casual ease. This was Kira, the pilot, her gaze, sharp and analytical, already assessing the damage to my ship, calculating the odds. A third figure, broader, more powerfully built, her movements efficient and economical, stood slightly behind Seraphina. Her skin had a faint, metallic sheen, like polished chrome, and subtle cybernetic scars, glowing with a soft, internal light, crisscrossed her left forearm. Her eyes, a cold, unyielding gold, held the grim determination of a veteran combatant. She carried a heavy-gauge plasma cannon, its barrel gleaming ominously. This was Valeria, the strategist, her presence radiating a quiet, brutal competence. And the fourth, slightly smaller, her expression one of intense, almost childlike curiosity, yet with an underlying steel. Her hair was spun silver, adorned with delicate, almost organic-looking integrated aesthetic implants that shimmered with a soft, internal glow. Her skin possessed a pearlescent luminescence, catching the ambient light with an ethereal glow. Her eyes, a deep, luminous blue, seemed to hold vast libraries of data within their depths. She held a complex, multifunctional diagnostic tool, its probes extended, already scanning the dying vagabond dash. This was Lyra, the tech expert, her curiosity clearly focused on my ship's rapidly failing systems. They moved with an inhuman precision, their synchronized steps a testament to their cohesion, their undisputed command of this lawless expanse of space. Their allure was immediate and undeniable, not a conventional beauty, but one born of reckless courage, absolute independence, and a dangerous mastery over their environment. They embodied the wild, untamed spirit of the cosmos. And I, Kalen Rourke, the jaded, cynical pilot, was now their unexpected guest, or their prisoner. Identify yourself, broken bird. Seraphina's voice, that captivating purr, cut through the comms. Your presence is an anomaly in our hunting grounds. My internal monologue was a flurry of activity. Don't show weakness. Don't reveal too much. Play it cool. Assess. Kalen Rourke, I rasped, my voice hoarse from the smoke, formerly of the Imperial Navy, currently freelance. And your hunting grounds just tried to kill me. Kira chuckled, a sharp, amused sound. The belt doesn't try, Spacer. It just does dash. You were lucky we found you before the void claimed your carcass. Lucky, I retorted, a bitter laugh escaping my lips, is rarely a word I associate with my current predicament. You ambushed me. Seraphina's eyes, those mesmerizing nebulae, narrowed. We collect salvage, Kalen Rourke. We do not ambush. Your vessel's signature was intriguing. A bait. Something drew you here. What was it? Her voice was calm, but threaded with an undercurrent of dangerous inquiry. My mind raced. Bait? Was the vagabond a setup? Was I led here? I looked at the pristine, untouched exterior of their ship. No damage. No signs of battle. And my ship was, definitely, ambushed. A simple navigation error, I lied smoothly, my cynical self-preservation kicking in. Lost my way. Happens in the belt. Valeria, the strategist, her metallic skin shimmering faintly, stepped forward, her voice a low, guttural rumble. Lies. Your vessel's flight recorder shows a sudden, direct hit. From an unknown energy signature. You were hunted, and you are a survivor. A valuable asset, or a dangerous intruder. Her gold eyes were unblinking. Lyra, the tech expert, her pearlescent skin glowing, extended a flexible probe from her diagnostic tool, brushing it against the vagabond's dying hull. His vessel's reactor signature is unique. Not standard Imperial issue. Highly modified. Impressive for a freelancer. Her blue eyes, filled with swirling data patterns, flickered with curiosity. And his augments advanced. He is more than he appears. Seraphina's gaze sharpened, her voice losing its purr, becoming sharper, more commanding. So, not just a broken bird, a valuable one. Your skills, Kalen Rourke. What are they? And what is your price? The question hung in the smoky air. My life, my freedom, my price. I was caught in their intricate web, a dangerous game where the lines between hunter and hunted were blurring rapidly. The allure of their absolute independence, their audacious command of the void, was intoxicating, a reckless courage that promised a dangerous freedom I hadn't known since leaving the Imperial Navy. I was being thrust into their world, and I knew, with a chilling certainty, that I would either prove my worth or become their eternal prisoner, a plaything in the hands of the queens of the dead stars. This was my new reality, and the thrilling tension had just begun. Hashtag Queens of the Dead Stars, Part 1, The Asteroid Labyrinth. My ship, the Vagabond Dash, was swiftly enveloped by the Queen's vessel, drawn into its cavernous hangar bay with a hum of powerful grav clamps. The bay itself was a marvel of adaptive engineering, a sprawling, multi-tiered space filled with a dizzying array of scavenged starfighter parts, exotic weapon components, and jury-rigged machinery, all meticulously organized. It smelled of ozone, synth oil, and something vaguely metallic, like fresh asteroid dust. This wasn't just a ship. It was a mobile fortress, a living, breathing testament to their self-made rules and mastery of the void. I was led, not roughly, but with a firm purpose, by Kira and Valeria. My pulse rifle was confiscated, my multi-tool placed in a locked compartment. Lyra, ever curious, kept her diagnostic probes hovering around my augmented left arm, her multi-toned eyes scrutinizing my integrated neural interface. Serafina watched from the command deck, her nebula-like eyes missing nothing. Your quarters, Kira stated, her voice sharp, as we entered a small, Spartan cabin. The walls were raw, unpolished asteroid rock, but lined with efficient, built-in bunks, a small console, and a sealed waste disposal unit. Spartan, but functional. Don't try anything clever. This ship is smarter than you are, and we are always watching. Her multi-toned eyes, swirling with light, fixed on mine, a subtle threat in their depths. Understood. I replied, my voice calm, betraying nothing of the rapid-fire calculations in my mind. Always watching. Good. Information flow. Observe. Adapt. Valeria, her metallic skin gleaming, crossed her arms, her plasma cannon resting easily at her hip. Your skills, Kalen Rourke. Serafina will decide their worth. Until then, you are a guest. A highly monitored guest. Her golden eyes were unblinking, devoid of warmth. They left, sealing the door with a soft hiss. I was alone, but the sense of constant surveillance was palpable. My internal monologue was a flurry of analysis. No escape. Not yet. But opportunity. Always opportunity. The next few cycles were a study in their unique world. I was given tasks, minor repairs to the ship's internal systems, inventory of salvaged parts, cleaning duty in the hangar. Menial, but it allowed me to observe. Their ship, I learned, was named the Void Serpent Dash. It was a true marvel, its engines silent, its stealth capabilities legendary. Its base, when we finally reached it, was even more impressive. Not a derelict station, but a hollowed-out asteroid. Its interior a complex labyrinth of tunnels, docking bays, and living quarters, all carved from the raw rock, yet seamlessly integrated with advanced, glowing technology. It pulsed with a contained energy, a thriving hub of lawless enterprise. It was the heart of the Dead Stars belt, the true domain of the Queens. Their operations were a whirlwind of daring efficiency. I watched them coordinate raids on unsuspecting corporate transports, their approach silent, their strikes surgical, their retreat untraceable. They didn't engage in wanton destruction. They were professional pirates, focused on high-value targets, leaving minimal evidence. They were ruthless, yes, but efficient, almost clinical in their approach. Their hierarchy was absolute. Serafina was the undisputed captain, her authority unquestioned. Kira, the pilot, executed maneuvers with a virtuoso flair that made my own piloting skills seem pedestrian. Valeria, the strategist, planned every raid with meticulous precision, anticipating every contingency. Lyra, the tech expert, maintained the Void Serpent-esque complex systems, constantly optimizing, constantly innovating. Each woman had her role, and each excelled in it, their combined talents forming an unassailable force. Their code was simple: loyalty to the crew above all else, ruthlessness to outsiders, freedom from any galactic authority. They operated by their own rules, self-made and unbreakable. This freedom, this untamed spirit in the vast emptiness of space, held an intoxicating allure. It was a dangerous freedom, a life lived on the edge, but it was their life, unburdened by bureaucracy or galactic mandates. My old loyalties, the rigid discipline of the Imperial Navy, felt brittle, almost laughable, in comparison to their fierce, anarchic independence. My internal monologue shifted from pure survival to analysis of their society. The controlled anarchy, the way they moved, each an individual, yet perfectly in sync with the collective goal. Their sharp wit, their challenging banter, was a constant part of their interactions, a test of intelligence and quick thinking. It was a dangerous game, but one that stimulated my jaded mind in ways I hadn't experienced in years. I had occasional, brief dialogues with them, always initiated by them, always laced with a subtle challenge. "Your repairs to the grav clamp," Lyra commented one cycle, her pearlescent skin glowing faintly in the dim light of the hangar. "Efficient. Your understanding of Imperial schematics is thorough." She paused, her blue eyes, swirling with data patterns, fixed on mine. "Do you miss it? The order? The rules?" "Order has its uses," I replied, shrugging, "but it tends to break under pressure. Rules, they're just suggestions to be optimized." My cynicism, a well-honed defense mechanism, was a language they seemed to understand. Kira, leaning against a bulkhead, cleaning her energy pistol, a faint smirk touching her lips. "Optimized. I like that. You speak our language, spacer." Her multi-toned eyes, bright as nebulae, gleamed with a dangerous amusement. "You just need to learn the accent." Valeria, passing by, her metallic skin shimmering, gave me a fleeting glance. "An outsider. Always an outsider. Do not forget that, Rourke. Loyalty here is earned, not given." Her voice was a low, guttural warning. Serafina, however, remained mostly aloof, observing from a distance, her nebula-like eyes piercing, as if assessing my very soul. Her presence was a constant, almost physical weight, an undeniable authority that captivated even as it intimidated. Her allure was rooted in that absolute command, that effortless dominance over her domain. I was her captive, but also an object of her curious interest. And that, I realized, was a dangerous game in itself. The intoxicating allure of lawlessness, the captivating power of self-made rules, was slowly, insidiously, beginning to corrupt my old sense of self. My life, my freedom, were on the line, and the dangerous thrill of it was already addictive. #### Queens of the Dead Stars, Part 2. The Engineer and the Nebula. The mundane tasks given to me were merely a test. My internal monologue, a restless current of observation and analysis, confirmed it. They were assessing my capabilities, my adherence to their unspoken rules, my willingness to comply, but also my capacity for independent thought. The Void Serpent was a marvel of engineering, a patchwork of bleeding-edge alien tech and heavily modified human components. A testament to Lyra's genius and the Queen's sheer audacity. And it had subtle flaws, expertly hidden, waiting for a discerning eye. My chance to prove my worth came during a routine resource run. We were deep within a shimmering nebula, a swirling, incandescent cloud of cosmic dust and gas, beautiful yet treacherous, riddled with unpredictable energy surges and rogue gravity wells. It was a common hiding spot for pirate bases and a natural defense against corporate patrols. Suddenly, a system alert blared through the Void Serpent-esque comms. "Energy conduit failure. Section Gamma, 7. Lyra's voice, usually calm, was sharp with alarm. Secondary power diverting. We're losing maneuvering thrusters. The ship shuddered, pulled by an unseen gravitational anomaly. Alarms blared, red lights flashing through the cockpit. Kira, her multi-toned eyes wide with focus, fought the controls, her hands a blur on the console, but the Void Serpent was being inexorably dragged towards a colossal, swirling vortex of superheated gas. Damage report. Seraphina's voice, calm and commanding, cut through the chaos. Kira, full power domain thrusters. Override safeties. Negative, Captain. Lyra's voice, strained, replied. The conduit is fused. We can't divert enough power. We're going in. My internal monologue snapped into hyperfocus. I knew this type of conduit. A highly modified Imperial design, retrofitted with alien power converters. They were prone to microfractures under extreme stress, especially in a high-energy environment like a nebula. My old life, my years of engineering schematics, suddenly became relevant. Captain, I yelled, my voice cutting through the comms. It's the Xylosian power converter. It's overloading the Imperial conduit. Bypass the converter. Reroute directly to main power regulators. It'll stabilize power, but you'll lose the stealth capability for a few cycles. Seraphina's nebula-like eyes flicked to me. Her face, usually so serene, held a flicker of surprise, then a sharp, tactical assessment. Lyra, can you confirm his diagnostics? The logic holds, Captain. Lyra's voice, strained with concentration, replied. It's a high-risk bypass, but it's theoretically sound. Do it. Seraphina commanded, her voice absolute. Kalen Rourke, talk her through it. I didn't hesitate. Lyra, listen. Isolate the converter. Use a magnetic pulse to seal the fracture. Then reroute the main energy flow through the auxiliary conduits, but only for 30 seconds. It'll be a manual override. Your hands on the power regulators. Lyra's fingers danced across her console, her pearlescent skin glowing with effort. Understood. Initiating bypass. Magnetic pulse. Now. The Void Serpent shuddered violently as the bypass engaged. The alarm shrieked louder, then abruptly silenced. The hum of the main thrusters surged, raw and powerful. The ship bucked, fought against the gravitational pull, and slowly, agonizingly, began to pull away from the churning vortex. Stealth fields are down. Kira yelled, her multi-toned eyes wide. We're exposed. Irrelevant. Seraphina retorted, her voice triumphant. We are alive. Kalen Rourke, you just saved my ship. Her gaze, those mesmerizing nebulae, held a new light, a profound acknowledgement of my skill. The immediate crisis averted, the Void Serpent limped out of the nebula, its hull humming with residual energy. The tension in the cockpit slowly dissipated, replaced by a sense of shared exhilaration. My status shifted immediately and irrevocably. I was no longer just a guest or asset. I was an engineer, a vital component of their crew. My old loyalties, my Imperial training, were not a hindrance, but a valuable asset in their anarchic world. Impressive for a grunt, Zora commented later, her metallic skin shimmering, a faint smirk touching her lips. You talk a good fight, and you back it up. Her golden eyes, usually cold, held a flicker of genuine respect. My pleasure, I replied, a wry grin touching my lips. Always happy to optimize a flawed system. Kira, her fiery hair a wild halo, clapped me on the shoulder, a rare, spontaneous gesture. You're not just a pilot. Rourke, you've got an eye for the guts of a ship. You're wasted on salvage. Her multi-toned eyes gleamed with mischief. Join us. Officially. We could use a mind like yours. The offer. Explicit. Direct. My internal monologue, for the first time, felt a genuine pull towards their anarchic freedom. The appeal of their self-made rules, their daring ingenuity, their sheer strength in navigating the brutal realities of the belt. It was intoxicating. Seraphina approached me in the hangar bay later that cycle, her presence a silent, powerful aura. Her glowing tattoos pulsed softly. Your skills are valuable, Kalen Rourke. We have seen your competence, your quick thinking, your adaptability. Her gaze, those deep, mesmerizing nebulae, held mine. We offer you a place among us. Not as a mercenary, not as a tool, as a member of the crew. Of the Void Reavers dashed. My heart hammered. The Void Reavers Dash, their chosen name. It resonated with a thrilling sense of dangerous belonging. The price? I asked, my voice steady, my cynicism a well-worn shield. Her lips curved into a faint, predatory smile. Loyalty to the crew. Unquestioning. Ruthlessness to our enemies. Absolute. And freedom, in its purest, most dangerous form. Her voice was a low, seductive purr, pulling me deeper into her orbit. No rules but our own. No masters but the void. What say you, Kalen Rourke? Do you embrace the anarchy? My internal conflict flared. My old life, my moral compass, the rigid discipline of the Empire, it all felt like a distant, irrelevant dream. This was real. This was power. This was freedom, bought with daring and cunning. The dangerous attraction to these women, their wildness, their untamed spirit, was undeniable. They embodied everything I secretly craved in the chaos of the cosmos. I looked at Seraphina, her nebulae eyes holding mine. Then at Kira, her multi-toned eyes bright with challenge. At Valeria, her metallic skin gleaming with grim competence. At Lyra, her pearlescent luminescence radiating silent curiosity. They were not just pirates. They were a force of nature. And I, Kalen Rourke, was on the precipice of a choice that would redefine my very existence. The blurred lines between old loyalties and intoxicating anarchy had just become my new reality. The thrilling tension was a constant, exhilarating hum. #### Queens of the Dead Stars, Part 3, The Heist and the Haze. I joined them. The Void Reavers Dash. The choice, when it came, wasn't a philosophical debate, but a visceral acknowledgement of where my true spirit belonged. The sterile order of the Empire felt like a prison now, compared to the exhilarating chaos of the Dead Stars belt. My old loyalties dissolved like stardust, replaced by a fierce, undeniable commitment to this crew, to these women who carved their own path through the void. My skills, my knowledge of Imperial systems, my quick thinking under pressure proved invaluable. I was not just a pilot or an engineer. I became a crucial component in their intricate machinery of lawlessness. My internal monologue was a constant hum of strategy, tactics, and the intoxicating thrill of living on the edge. Our next target, the Ethereum Nexus, a heavily guarded corporate data hub, masquerading as a research outpost, hidden deep within a treacherous nebula known as the Whispering Haze. It held encrypted data, corporate secrets, and, according to Seraphina's intelligence, a cache of rare, unrefined Ethereum, a crystal currency more valuable than gold. This was their biggest score yet, a daring raid that would cement their dominance in the belt. The planning sessions were a symphony of sharp intellect and daring improvisation. Seraphina, the conductor, laid out the grand strategy, her nebula-like eyes gleaming with anticipation. Kira, the virtuoso pilot, charted impossible hyperspace jumps, calculating microwarps through dense gas clouds. Valeria, the grim strategist, devised multi-layered infiltration plans, anticipating every corporate defense, every security protocol. Lyra, the tech expert, designed custom EMP bursts and neural scramblers, capable of bypassing the Nexus's advanced firewalls. My role? I was the ghost in the machine. My knowledge of Imperial data networks, my ability to manipulate security protocols, would be crucial for the internal infiltration, for creating chaos from within. My former life, a burden, was now my greatest asset. The Ethereum Nexus maintains a continuous neural sync with its central corporate hub, Lyra explained, her pearlescent skin glowing faintly as she projected holographic schematics. A direct assault would trigger a full system lockdown. We need to go in silent. And we need to go in fast. My ship can get us there, Kira stated, her multi-toned eyes bright with confidence. The Void Serpent's cloaking is unparalleled, but the haze is treacherous. One wrong jump, and we're dust. That's where Kalen comes in, Seraphina purred, her gaze, sharp and assessing, fixing on me. Her glowing tattoos pulsed softly. His Imperial clearance codes are invaluable. His understanding of corporate protocols, essential. He opens the gate from within. He creates the chaos, and he ensures our safe passage out. My heart hammered with a thrilling mixture of fear and exhilaration. It was a perilous game, a high-stakes gamble. But the dangerous allure of it, the sheer audacity of challenging the corporate giants, was intoxicating. The execution was a masterpiece of controlled chaos. Kira piloted the Void Serpent through the whispering haze, her multi-toned eyes tracking phantom energy surges, her fiery hair a wild halo around her focused face. The ship moved like a ghost, its cloaking shimmering as it navigated treacherous gravity wells and blinding cosmic dust. I watched her, mesmerized by her virtuoso skill, a shared adrenaline rush building between us. Valeria and I were deployed in a small stealth shuttle, approaching the Nexus's underbelly. Her metallic skin shimmered in the ambient light, her gold eyes gleaming with grim determination. "No heroics, Rourke," she stated, her voice a low rumble. "Stick to the plan. You open the doors. I clear the path." "Wouldn't dream of it, Val," I retorted, a sharp grin touching my lips. "Just here for the view. And the loot." We infiltrated the Nexus, my Imperial clearance codes, subtly modified by Lyra, allowing us access to the lower maintenance levels. The interior was pristine, sterile, a stark contrast to the organic chaos of the Void Serpent Dash. "Internal security grid active," Valeria murmured, her plasma cannon already raised. 20 paces to the main conduit. "Your play, Rourke." My fingers, precise and efficient, danced across the console, injecting a custom virus, disabling local alarms, creating a momentary blind spot in their surveillance. "Doors open. Go." Valeria moved, a blur of metallic skin and cold efficiency, her plasma cannon spitting controlled bursts, taking down automated turrets and patrolling security drones with brutal precision. She was a force of nature, a terrifying embodiment of raw power and tactical brilliance. I moved behind her, covering her flanks, a well-oiled machine in the orchestra of chaos. The internal monologues were a constant stream of predictive analysis, anticipating enemy responses, calculating the optimal moment for a diversion, for an escape route. The thrill of the chase, the intoxicating allure of lawlessness, was addictive. We reached the central data core, a massive, cylindrical chamber pulsating with vibrant blue light. The Ethereum Nexus, the source of their corporate power. "Ethereum Vault is beyond that." Lyra's voice, a calm whisper in my calm, guided me. "But the main neural network is protected by a multi-layered quantum firewall. Standard Imperial tech won't touch it." "Good thing I'm not standard Imperial tech," I murmured, my fingers already dancing across the console, initiating the custom override sequence Lyra had designed. The air crackled with energy as I began to unravel the Nexus's complex defenses. Just as the vault door began its slow, ponderous hiss of retraction, a new alarm blared, piercing and insistent. Not a security alert. Something else. Unauthorized signal detected. Kira's voice, laced with alarm, cut through the comms. "It's a corporate enforcement vessel. They've breached the haze. They're on an intercept course." My heart hammered. Corporate enforcers, not mercenaries. These were the true hounds of the Empire, relentless, utterly unforgiving. This was no longer just a heist. This was a war, and we were caught in the crossfire. The grand heist had just become a desperate confrontation, pushing us, the Queens of the Dead Stars and their new rogue companion, to the brink. #### Queens of the Dead Stars, Part 4, The Corporate Hounds and the Unraveling Plan. The blare of the corporate enforcement vessel's alarm was a cold, sharp blade cutting through the exhilaration of the heist. My internal monologue snapped from cunning strategy to stark, brutal survival. Corporate enforcers. They don't take prisoners. They eradicate. The thrill of the chase was replaced by the visceral terror of being hunted by entities with infinite resources and zero mercy. "Status report, Kira." Seraphina's voice, though sharp, remained remarkably calm amidst the escalating chaos. Her nebula-like eyes, usually serene, were now burning with a cold, strategic fire. Their drive signatures matched the Black Talon's unit. Kira's voice, strained, crackled in my comms. Her multi-toned eyes, swirling with frantic data, confirmed my worst fears. The Black Talons. Corporate's elite. Ghost hunters. They're faster than us, Captain. And their weaponry, optimized for void combat. Valeria. Prepared defensive protocols. Zora. Ready boarding parties for evasion. Seraphina's commands were clipped, precise. Lyra prioritized countermeasures against their dampeners. Rourke, secure the Ethereum. Now, I didn't need to be told twice. The vault door, now fully open, revealed a shimmering chamber filled with pulsating, iridescent Ethereum crystals. I lunged in, my hands grabbing handfuls, stuffing them into my reinforced utility pouches. The crystals pulsed with a strange, cool energy against my skin. They were the prize, but now felt like a curse, weighing me down. The Void Serpent shuddered violently as the corporate enforcement vessel engaged. The sounds of space combat, usually distant hums on the hull, now reverberated through the Nexus, making the very structure groan. Lasers lanced through the vacuum, plasma cannons roared, and the sickening thud of impact shook the entire station. They're deploying boarding parties. Lyra yelled, her pearlescent skin momentarily losing its luminescence, her voice strained with effort as she struggled with countermeasures. Breach teams inbound. Sector Delta, 9. Damn it. Valeria growled, her metallic skin shimmering, her gold eyes fixed on the schematic of the Nexus. They bypassed our perimeter. Rourke, you secure the Ethereum. I'll hold the line. Her plasma cannon roared, spitting bolts of raw energy at the approaching breach teams. My internal monologue was a desperate scramble. Trapped. Surrounded. No escape. The grand heist had unraveled into a desperate fight for survival. My old loyalties, my Imperial training, were a cruel joke now. I was a part of this crew, bound by the shared peril, by the intoxicating allure of their lawless freedom. And now, I had to fight for it. For us dash. I secured the last of the Ethereum, my pouches bulging and spun, my blaster ready. Corporate enforcers, clad in their pristine black armor, were already pouring into the central data core, their weapons spitting laser fire. They were relentless, disciplined, a stark contrast to the chaotic brilliance of the Void Reavers. Valeria fought like a demon, a whirlwind of grim efficiency, her plasma cannon tearing through the enforcers' ranks. Kira, meanwhile, was not just piloting the Void Serpent dash, she was actively disrupting the Nexus's internal systems, triggering localized power outages, disorienting the enforcers. Her multi-toned eyes gleamed with a dangerous, exhilarating madness. We need a clear path to the hangar. Seraphina's voice resonated through the comms, a calm, commanding presence amidst the storm of battle. Kira, can you buy us time? Attempting to sever their power conduit. Kira shrieked, her voice strained. It'll be a full system shutdown. Might take down the whole Nexus. Do it. Seraphina commanded, her voice absolute. My internal monologue screamed. A full system shutdown? That would destroy the Nexus. All this valuable Ethereum, but the value of the crystals paled in comparison to the value of survival. I fought alongside Valeria, my blaster spitting precise bursts, targeting the enforcer's weak points. I was no longer a cynical rogue. I was a warrior, protecting my crew, my new family. The raw, guttural commands of the enforcers, their cold, unwavering efficiency, filled me with a primal rage. This was not just a heist, it was a battle for our very right to exist outside their suffocating order. Lyra, her pearlescent skin faintly flushed with effort, managed to open a secondary maintenance hatch, a narrow, dark tunnel leading deeper into the Nexus's underbelly. This way, it leads to an emergency escape pod bay. But it's old tech. Not guaranteed. No guarantees in the belt, Lyra. I yelled, firing a suppressing burst, covering Valeria as she moved towards the hatch. Only guts. We scrambled into the narrow tunnel, pursued by the relentless enforcers. The sounds of battle faded behind us, replaced by the ominous groan of the Nexus as Kira initiated the system shutdown. The entire station began to shudder, its lights flickering, its internal systems screaming in protest. They're attempting a manual override. Lyra cried out, her voice tight. The Black Talons are trying to save the Nexus. Not if I can help it. Kira roared, a fierce defiance in her voice. This station dies with me, so they can't have their damn data. A colossal explosion ripped through the Nexus, shaking the very asteroid. The tunnel around us buckled, showering us with sparks and debris. The air filled with the acrid smell of burnt circuitry. The lights went out, plunging us into absolute darkness. Kira. Seraphina's voice, sharp with urgency, cut through the comms. Kira. Report. Silence. Only static. Kira had done it. She had destroyed the Nexus. And perhaps herself with it. My heart plummeted. A chilling emptiness. The price of freedom. The ruthless choices demanded by anarchy. We crawled through the darkness, navigating the treacherous, collapsing tunnel by feel, guided by Lyra's frantic, whispered directions. The silence from Kira was deafening. She was gone. Or so I feared. We finally reached the escape pod bay, a small, cramped chamber, dimly lit by emergency lights. A single escape pod, battered and old, sat in its cradle. Our last chance. One pod. Valeria growled, her metallic skin shimmering in the faint light. Not enough for all of us. Seraphina's voice, calm and resolute, cut through the grim realization. Then one of us will remain. The Void Serpent is a lost cause now. Our data is destroyed. Our prize is gone. Her voice was filled with a profound sorrow, a rare glimpse beneath her commanding exterior. My internal monologue was a maelstrom of conflicting thoughts. Escape. Survive. But leave them? After all we've been through, my old loyalties, my morals, wrestled with the intoxicating pull of this new, dangerous family. This was the climax. The definitive choice. The price of freedom. And my loyalty, my very soul, was on the line. #### Queens of the Dead Stars, Part 5, The Reckoning in the Unchained Stars. The small escape pod bay felt like a tomb, the air thick with the unspoken gravity of our predicament. One pod. For Queens. And me. The remnants of a daring heist, reduced to a desperate fight for a single escape route. My internal monologue screamed with the raw, visceral pain of Kira's presumed loss, the grim reality of our shattered plans. I will stay, Valeria stated, her voice a low, guttural rumble, her metallic skin shimmering faintly in the dim emergency lights. Her gold eyes, usually cold, held a fierce, unyielding resolve. I will delay the black talons. Buy you time. Go. No. Lyra cried, her pearlescent skin losing all luminescence, her voice trembling. Valeria, we are a unit. We do not leave our own. It is a tactical necessity, Valeria replied, her gaze fixed on Seraphina. The captain survives. The core of the Reavers endures. My purpose is clear. And mine. I interjected, my voice raw, defiant. I'll stay. I know the internal layouts of this nexus better than any of you. I can buy you more time. More than she can. My mind was already calculating the optimal choke points, the weakest structural supports, the most effective ways to delay the relentless enforcers. The desire to sacrifice myself for them, for this dangerous, intoxicating freedom they represented, was a searing, overwhelming force. Seraphina's nebula-like eyes fixed on me, piercing, analytical. She saw my raw courage, my unexpected loyalty. Her glowing tattoos pulsed softly. Your sacrifice would be, noted, Kalen Rourke, but unnecessary. Her voice was calm, utterly unwavering. We survive. Together. Or we don't. She turned to Lyra. Lyra, activate the emergency override on the pod. We will reconfigure its systems. It will carry us all. Lyra, her hands still trembling, moved to the console, her fingers a blur. It's not designed for 5, Captain. The life support will be unstable. The thrusters will burn out before we clear the belt. Optimize it, Lyra, Seraphina commanded, her voice absolute. You are the finest engineer in the belt. Make it so. Her authority was a palpable force, inspiring, undeniable. My internal monologue shifted from self-sacrifice to tactical problem-solving. 5 people in a single-person pod. Extreme stress. Life support degradation. We need to shed weight. Reduce drag. Maximize thrust. Captain, I projected, my mental voice sharp, cutting through Lyra's frantic calculations. The auxiliary fuel cells. Bypass them. The pod's thrusters can run on direct plasma tap from the core, but it's unstable. It'll give us a burst of thrust for 20 seconds. Enough to clear the belt. But it'll leave the core irradiated. The pod will be dead in space after that. Seraphina's eyes snapped to me, a flicker of comprehension. Lyra looked up, her multi-toned eyes wide. He's right. It's a suicide burn, but it could work. Do it, Lyra, Seraphina commanded, her voice tight with grim determination. Kalen Rourke, guide her. Valeria, Zora, cover us. The Black Talons are inbound. The emergency escape pod bay erupted into a frenzy of desperate activity. Lyra and I worked in a synchronized blur, our hands dancing across the exposed conduits, rerouting power, initiating the dangerous bypass. My knowledge of Imperial engineering, Lyra's genius with alien tech, it was a seamless collaboration, a testament to our combined capabilities. Valeria and Zora stood guard at the tunnel entrance, their weapons spitting fire, holding back the relentless surge of corporate enforcers. The air filled with the sounds of battle, the cries of men, the roar of plasma. Almost there. Lyra grunted, her pearlescent skin now flushed crimson with effort. Main power conduit rerouted. Thrusters primed. But life support will be critical after burn. Understood. Seraphina replied, her voice firm. Everyone, into the pod. Now. We squeezed into the cramped pod, a tangle of limbs and gear. Zora, grim and powerful, pushed the last enforcer back, then squeezed through the narrow hatch just as a colossal explosion ripped through the tunnel behind us. The Nexus was finally succumbing to Kira's final, desperate act. Clear. Zora roared, her voice muffled by the pod's intercoms. Seraphina slammed her hand on the launch button. The pod bucked, then surged forward, blasting out of the collapsing Nexus, narrowly missing a falling section of asteroid. The raw power of the direct plasma tap was immense, forcing us back into our seats, a bone-jarring acceleration that threatened to tear us apart. Through the pod's viewport, I saw the Nexus explode in a silent, blinding flash, its vast structure dissolving into a chaotic storm of fire and debris. And then, the corporate enforcement vessel, the Black Talons, its pristine hull shattered, its engines crippled, caught in the expanding energy wave. They were destroyed. Kira had ensured it. The pod screamed through the void, its thrusters a roaring inferno, pushing us to impossible speeds. For 20 agonizing seconds, we were a dying star, burning our last reserves of power, rocketing towards the edge of the dead star's belt. Then, silence. The thrusters died. The lights flickered, then went out. The life support hummed faintly, critically low. We were dead in space. Adrift. But we were free. And we were alive. My internal monologue was a dizzying mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. We had done it. We had escaped. And Kira, her sacrifice, her final defiance, had not been in vain. Seraphina, her face grim but resolute, took a deep, shuddering breath. We survived, she stated, her voice a low, raw whisper, devoid of its usual power. Kira's sacrifice will be remembered. We will rebuild. Lyra, slumped against the wall, her pearlescent skin pale, gave a weak nod. Valeria, her metallic skin shimmering in the faint emergency light, simply closed her eyes, a silent acknowledgement of their shared loss and grim triumph. Zora, her powerful frame trembling, reached out and gripped my shoulder, a silent gesture of grudging respect, of shared battle. I was part of them now. Truly. The lines between adversary and ally had blurred irrevocably. My old loyalties, my former life, felt like a distant, irrelevant dream. This was my reality. This dangerous freedom, this intoxicating anarchy was my new home. We were adrift, yes, helpless in the vastness of space. But we were unchained, unbowed, and we were together. The episode concluded. I, Kalen Rourke, the jaded Imperial pilot, had found my brand of freedom in anarchy. I had lost a ship, a past, and a piece of my old self. But I had gained something far more valuable, a purpose, a place among the queens of the Dead Stars. The thrill of their daring, their fierce independence, their dangerous beauty, it had claimed me, body and soul. The price of freedom was constant vigilance, ruthless choices, and the chilling knowledge that tomorrow might bring another ambush, another desperate flight, another loss. But in the vast, untamed cosmos, with the unchained stars as our only witnesses, I realized that true freedom, in its purest, most dangerous form, was the most captivating prize of all. And the alluring call of the void, and the queens who mastered it, would forever guide my path.